Welcome to the HANA CloudNative Developer Series. My name is HP and this is the first episode about HANA Express on Docker with Cloud Application Programming Model. Hi, fantastic. So what's the content of this session? I want to give you an overview about the topic using HANA database on Docker with the Cloud Application Programming model. And I don't want to go into details on each topic, perhaps more on the Docker side, but it's somehow an appetizer for further sessions. Okay, then let's start. So this is a slide from the third HANA Tech Night in Mannheim from October last year. I held there a presentation about, relocation of the HANA application developer, and we defined there the cloudy HANA application developer, and what's shown here is more or less the environment in which we have to work and live as cloudy HANA application developer. So this series now will concentrate on this kind of setup. Most important here is the HANA database in a Docker container. That's what I want to focus here in this video. And you can, the setup is you have another container where you run the application. Here, somehow a standard SAP stack running CAP on Node.js for the service implementation and using for the front end SAP UI5. And and this is then for the persistent layer connected with the other Docker container where the HANA database is. That's kind of side-by-side, a larger side-by-side extension in contrast to a simple function as a service or serverless scenario. And what is also very interesting, I think, is that in contrast to using SQLite for CAP development, you can use full-blown HANA database with all the features which are available there, and it's really an interesting option because a lot of people complaining that running HANA database on the SAP Cloud Platform is very expensive, and it is. Yeah, this is quite as a cheap option. Yeah, on my German hyperscaler, this costs me around 10 euros, 7 days, 24 hours, a whole month. Yeah, so I think that's a cool option for CAP development. Okay, so let's concentrate on this box here in this session, and let's start. A little bit marketing. We have here a quite interesting group in Mannheim, the HANA Developers Mannheim, a meetup group. Currently, in the circumstances, we cannot meet physically, but let's see this session also as some kind of virtual meeting. Let's see if you interesting join the meetup group to be informed, or perhaps next year when we have the normal setup again. So okay, running HANA Express on Docker. Definitely you go on Docker Hub and you will find there the HANA Express edition. Also here I'm looking on the database services only. I think that's the interesting part for this kind of scenario. There are setup instructions which explains how you can set up such kind of container based on this image. And these setup instructions are basically the same as here in the developer area of the SAP community. And the first important part here is this is only running. This is not running on Windows on Docker for Windows or Docker for Mac. Yeah, it's only running on a Linux environment. And perhaps that's changing, or is already changed, because there is this new subsystem, Windows subsystem for Linux version 2. But I'm sure Thomas Young will report that if this is successful. I made another decision. I moved, of course, to a Linux host, and I'm really a fan of CentOS. I'm using that for years now for normal Node.js development and also for productive systems, and it's binary compatible with Red Hat Linux, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and it's free. So a great combination. So here it's described how you can create such a container. Let's go on such a system. Okay, bigger. So what is this here? This is my host system. It's CentOS Linux 7. And yeah, what's the machine here has 16 gigabyte. I think for this scenario we're talking here about 8 gigabyte would be enough. But yeah, I'm also tested here HANA XSA. So if we look here, what images do I have here already downloaded? I have the normal HANA Express server only edition, which is the right option for that kind of setup. We're looking here. It's 3.5 gigabyte from size, and HANA XSA is 10 times more. Yeah, I have it installed here on this test machine also to play around with XSA for some. There are no extensions available so far for maintaining calculation views, for example. Perhaps hopefully that's changed soon. So yeah, these are the Docker images I'm using, which I downloaded from the Docker Hub, and I have already here created some containers. I guess I will go on that topic in another session in more details. Here I have already created container. This is the name of the container, and yeah, to start such a container you enter docker start in the container name, and yes, then you can see what's going on this machine. We have the HANA name server, and yeah, not surprisingly, memory usage is going up, and it will take around between I think 5 gigabyte memory. We can also have a look in the logs. So I think it's starting quite fast, so we can wait on the startup process. Doesn't take too long, and then we have a usable HANA database. Ding ding. Startup finished. So that's it. Let's have a look again. So it's still starting up, but you can see there the index server is there, so on. Does warm up. We have now 5 gigabyte of memory usage, but yeah, we are ready to use that machine now. So to show that now, I would like to use a small cloud application programming model. I'm going to Visual Studio Code here. Let's see, it's that in the background. Okay. So I have prepared a small project, cloning it here. Nothing really special. It has one entity, one service with some annotations. There's nothing special here in the configuration, but yeah, interesting here is the package JSON. Not surprising, we have here, we require HANA database, and we're using already the new syntax. HDI and deploy format should be HB table, so we not want to have HB CDS artifacts. We want to have normal SQL artifacts like table views to be generated by the by CDS, and this is compatible also with the new HANA 4.0 version, and is also possible on the normal HANA 2.0, which is what the Express Edition is. Yeah, so that's the special thing here. Let's install necessary stuff. Okay, and let's generate the artifacts which we want to deploy on our database. And you can see here HTTP view, HTTP table data. Yeah, so that could be now deployed. Therefore, I'm going into that folder. And yeah, there's I'm using now the HANA CLI tool. By the way, there is really a great video from Thomas Young, which, I mean, a lot of stuff here is duplicated from this series. He's using a VMware, like what I did also a few years, but now Docker I think is quite more handy. Watch this video, it's really a recommendation. He goes in more details on each of these topics I'm using here. And this is the compact version, and here is this HANA CLI tool. That's the source code, and it's also available on public NPM registry. And this is really a puzzle piece which is enabling this kind of development we want to go for here. Let's say normal development which is done outside SAP, and which will be the future for SAP too, I think. So yeah, let's see what have I installed here. Let's run here also npm. Okay, let's have a look in this generated folder what's in there. There's also the package JSON and the HDI deployer. We need to install that too. So what do I have here installed globally? On this machine. The CDS stuff, and I have this HANA CLI tool about the versioning. We could, yeah, not the standard versioning Thomas Young is using here. Why? Don't know. But that's a great tool. We will use this now to create a container on the database server, so that we can deploy in this schema and container the artifact here from this cap module. So what I need for that is I need admin access to this server. Come on. Where's that? Genau. Genau, in this default env admin JSON file, there is my administrative credentials for this machine. You can generate this file with HANA CLI connect. I've done that before. Copy it now here in my current working directory. What I now want to do is I want to create a HDI container on this HANA server running on Docker. So there's the command create container, HANA CLI create container. And let's call it Ep.1. Encrypt connection is not necessary here. And let's have a look if something is happening on the machine. Come on. Ding, ding, ding. This will now create an HDI container with, on this machine, and is storing this in this default end file. Let's have a look here. That was generated now, and what you can see here, it's created a schema Ep.1. That's where the artifacts which we will now deploy are then stored. And I've done it on the hexe host. I maintain that name in the hosts file of this Windows machine so that it can be the IP address can be revolved. And what you can see here, it's port 17. That's special for Docker images. That's the system DB. It's not on 13 or 15. It's on 17 on the Docker image. I don't know why, but it is like that. And it created also this dedicated design time users and runtime users, which will now be used to deploy and run the application. So we're now ready to deploy our artifacts, and that's quite easy. There is this script for that, which uses the HDI deploy package, which I installed by running npm install in this folder here. And to do the deployment, we simply have to start the script, npm start. Let's see if something happens there too. Deploying the container, and yes, we're ready. Let's see, tables. There it is. Table is deployed, and we can now use use this HDI container, this schema for our small project. So that was the deployment of the artifacts. Now I go back in the normal cloud application program. I have to copy this default JSON into the root. Do the same too. So I'm now on this level again, and the root of the Cloud Application Programming Model project on the CAP project, and I've copied there also these credentials for our HDI container, and then I can start CDS watch, and what you see, it now connects to the schema on this host with this runtime user. And let's have a look on this small Fiori annotated Fiori UI. Oh, this data is coming from our HANA Express edition on Docker. Cool. Really useful, and yeah, you have now full HANA system available and can also do the fancy stuff with it. So so at last step, let's see, almost used. Let's shut down. To have a full round trip, let's shut down this machine. Stop it. Yeah. So that's it. That was the whole stuff I wanted to show you. And yeah. So tell me what you're interested in next session. And yeah, goodbye. Take care about yourself and see you soon. Bye.